With vaping. Vaping is flat out bad for your health, but it can also harm the ones around you. It made me sick in high school. I don't vape and I never have, but this girl decided to bring a vape into the bathroom because, that's where you vape in high school to get away with it. Well, she was vaping and whatever flavor it was made me sick. That was awful, like one of the worst days. Vape shops there are 3 of them in Crossville, and they're around every corner, and it drives me crazy that they are. I mean, cigarettes are bad enough, but vapes, I think they're 10 times worse. Evalia, Evalia is the abbreviation name for which is short for e-cigarette or vaping product use of associated lung injury, according to Dr. Robert Sherman. Now, it has an abbreviated name. If that doesn't clue you in on how bad it is, I don't know what will. There are 3 types of lung diseases you can get from vaping. Dr. Lana Gordon says experts are reporting that patients who vape and develop lung diseases are at risk to die or already have died. Wet lung, respiratory lung, and popcorn lung. Right here is a picture of what wet lung looks like. Wet lung is when the matter is breathed in into the lungs, which triggers hypertension. Respiratory lung. It starts to affect one's lung the longer the person vapes. And it kind of starts out by coughing, which leads us to popcorn lung. And popcorn lung is basically living with bronchitis. Both regular cigarettes and vapes contain nicotine and may be just as addictive as cocaine and heroin. Dr. Michael Blaha says that an e-cigarette and vape user get even more nicotine than they would from tobacco and smokers and have the ability to increase the voltage on it. So basically they can increase the voltage to, like, instead of it just being one cigarette, it's like they're smoking 2. There are ways the brain is affected. So here's a video we're going to watch to show you.
A growing trend among kids and teens may be damaging more than just their lungs. Researchers at a local hospital say more and more kids are jumping on the Juul train. KFOR's Hillary Hunt joining us in the studio with more on this. Hillary, what's going on here?
Bob, well, we all know nicotine is highly addictive, but according to the CDC, it can also harm kids' brain development, which continues into their early and mid-20s, something UAMS researchers say parents really need to be aware of.
I think it's just a horrible trend. When they expose themselves to nicotine, their brain actually creates receptors.
Changes to the brain, which can change behavior.
But when they go for a while without the nicotine, that same receptor starts to send out signals that make them uncomfortable. They get irritable, they can't focus.
Nicole Ward at UAMS has spent the past 4 years exploring more than just lung damage when it comes to using one of these things. Issues that are now being found in our youth and having lasting effects.
You're doing those things and you're not able to be alert in class. You're missing out on things.
According to the CDC, between 2011 and 2018, the number of teens who started vaping increased from 220,000 to just over 3 million.
A lot less damage and a lot less harm.
Tanner Austin, a former cigarette smoker, says vape pens like the Juul have helped him step away from the even more harmful packs. But adds he is concerned the design and the appeal of vaping may get kids hooked who would have never touched a cigarette.
Be able to put in your pocket and hide it from your parents, everything.
They don't smell like a cigarette.
As for Ward, she encourages parents to pay attention to some signs to stop a possible addiction in its tracks before the damage is done.
They're spending less time engaged with the family. They're wanting to be alone more. They have unexplained irritability over time that's not consistent with their normal behavior, that those might be some signs.
Important signs to look out for. UAMS is currently conducting a number of group studies at the hospital using Arkansans to further their research on the harmful effects of e-cigarettes. Bob and Ashley.
So that's how it can affect your personal life. Now, how it can affect your social life is first, peer pressure is where it normally starts. A lot of people start vaping or smoking because they feel like they gotta fit in, which in a way is peer pressure. But according to your social life, the article in your social life, you might think that social smoking is common, but the fact is only 9 out of 10 don't smoke. And to tell you the truth, would you want to be dating someone who every 5 minutes is smoking and blowing that on you? That just kind of is a no-brainer to me. Here are 5 quick steps to quitting smoking. Decide either you're going to do it cold turkey or quit straight away. Now, my grandpa had to quit cold turkey because he had a heart attack from smoking. 2, set a quit date. When you set that date, you better be ready to commit to it. 3, think of the times you'll want to smoke and your triggers. And when you do that, write it down. That way, when it comes to your next step, it's not as hard. Come up with ways to deal with those triggers. See, if you already have your triggers written down, then you can get a sense of how to deal with them. And 5, most importantly, get some support from family members or friends. Now, there are 3 points that people use when they're fighting vaping versus regular cigarettes. 1, the common misconception that vapes are safer than cigarettes. That's not true. They aren't. They are just as bad as cigarettes, probably even worse, to tell you the truth. Secondly, they cost less. Probably because normally you'll have to go back and buy more packs and more packs when you can buy this much juice for a vape and it not cost as much. And lastly, vapes come in different flavors. I'm sorry, but if that's one of the reasons you vape, for crying out loud, eat candy. Candy comes in different flavors. So stop smoking in general. Because it's awful. It's awful for your health.